What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another amazing video that we have for you today. Yes, just like the title says, today finally we will be reviewing The Last of Us 2 on PlayStation 4. Let you guys know a little bit of my thoughts, my theories, things that I enjoyed, things that I didn't like so much, and just kind of give you a feel for what I thought about the game. So there were a lot of things, in my opinion, that could have been changed, could have been altered, but I wanted to play the game a couple times just so I had a full feel for it and give you guys the best review that I possibly could do. So I know this is a little long overdue, but thank you for bearing with me, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this. So first and foremost, I want to get into some of the key story points that we had here. The main focal point of this story, in my opinion, is the battle between good and evil, and is what you're doing right and wrong, and the struggle that we all battle with throughout life, making these kind of decisions and figuring out whether this action that we're going to take is the right path to take, or should we forgive and forget and let life just take its course, because things are going to happen to us that we aren't expected of, that we don't think are going to happen. And it's really battling with the aftermath of those choices and those decisions and where that person runs to, right? So we see Ellie, who right at the beginning of this game has the most important person in her life to this day, or at this moment, ripped away from her, regardless of her feelings for her and regardless of the internal struggle that they had, of her finding out that Joel killed everybody and saved her life instead of letting her die to maybe cure the world. And there was no guarantee that the cure that they made was going to work, right? They didn't have an idea. They didn't know if what they did with Ellie was going to work, but her life was going to be taken, and Joel made that conscious decision to save somebody that he loved, right? So that's the basis of the first story. Like, that's where we grow with these characters and build this great relationship, and we see Joel rip from Ellie right off the bat, and we think that, this is going to be an amazing revenge story of Ellie battling these people that took her one true north in this world from her. And that's not what we got. We got this side story of seeing the struggle between, like, this is your perspective, this is this perspective. Both sides think they're right. And really, one of my friends put it best with a quote he sent me: the knowledge of good and evil is only dependent on the people that stand next to you, or something along those lines. Meaning, the people that you're on your side, obviously you guys are all going to think what you're doing is right. And that's the battle that we see in between Abby's side and Ellie's side, where Abby had her father taken from her and she wanted revenge for that, where they got that revenge, and then it set off another chain of events that spiraled Ellie into that same kind of situation where something was taken from her and she wanted the revenge. So it was really about battling what side were you on, and whose side was right and whose side was wrong. And at the end of the game, we do see Ellie eventually come to the grips and terms that she realizes maybe life is more precious than what we're given, and maybe life is worth more than the things that we've experienced in the past. And it's when does the cycle really stop, right? When does this really end? She kills Abby, then the rest of Abby's crew comes after them. They kill Ellie, then they go after them. When does this really stop, right? So it's about making those hard decisions and taking those choices and running with them. So I thought that was a really interesting side of it. My perspective and things that I would have wanted to see, like, personally, I didn't need to see Abby's side of the story. I didn't care about Abby getting her father taken from her, or all the Fireflies getting murdered brutally. Like, again, in the first game, we build that bond with Abby and Joel, and we grow to love those two characters. And some of the NPCs that we come across, Tommy, Maria, some of the other Fireflies that have died and have moved on, we come to love those characters and grow with those characters. So for me to play a story about a character that just murdered brutally somebody that I love, that I personally love, because again, you grow to love these characters and playing these games, it really hurt, and it really took a I don't care vibe for me. Like, I the whole time I was playing it, I didn't care what happened to Abby. I didn't care that Abby was brutal, and then all of a sudden she gets put in a situation where she saves two people that she was battling, right? So they've been battling the scars their whole entire existence since they've been with the WLA, and they've been, fighting nothing but fighting scars and murdering each other, right? And then she finds two scars that she really cares about and grows to love and realizes what she's doing is wrong, right? What she did to Joel was wrong, and she felt sorry and remorse for that, and helping these scars survive and get past Isaac and get past the other WLA forces, like that was her redemption. And it's a huge redemption story by all means. And in my personal opinion, I didn't really care for it. Like, don't get me wrong, had a lot of emotion. It definitely gave some dynamic to the game. But personally, like, what I would have loved to see from Last of Us 2 was Joel getting ripped from us, and Ellie on this brutal mission to hunt down each and every person that was involved in that situation. And each one of those scenarios would have been a mini boss fight in a sense, to where Ellie finds these people, and maybe you have to stealth your way in and get up to them and almost Assassin's Creed assassinate them. Or there's two paths where if you're not stealthy enough, you get caught. It turns into a big boss battle where you're fighting the boss and a bunch of other NPCs that are and other villains that are coming in and assisting them, and minions and things like that. Like, that's what I would have loved to see. Like, in my personal opinion, the only person that got what they deserved from the murder of Joel was Nora, when she died by sucking in all those spores. So I would have loved to see just a little bit more retribution for Joel's killing, a little bit more, just, I just didn't feel the closure. I didn't feel like letting Abby go was the right thing to do. And, she had her in her grasp. She could have killed her. She could have let her die. She did suffer enough at that point, in my opinion, the way she looked and being stranded for a week or two on those pillars out in the ocean. That was intense. Like, that was nothing anybody should have to go through. But she killed Joel. She killed your dad, essentially, and you let him walk, like, or you let her walk. I don't know. And that's probably the Last of Us 3 setup. Maybe they come together and now they have to take out the WLA. Who knows? But in my opinion, I would have loved to see Ellie just go on this brutal killing hunt for all these people that took Joel away from her and made her into this evil person, But then I guess, like, they battle with the other side of it, where if she did do that, is she then Joel? Is now Ellie doing what Joel did and, murdering a bunch of people just because they killed one person, or one person that she loved was going to be killed? So I see that side too, and I definitely get where the developers were trying to go. I just would have loved to see something a little bit different from that. So moving on to gameplay. Gameplay was awesome. I think it followed The Last of Us 1 very well. The stealth was awesome. The seeing through walls, I think, was really good. I didn't really like the skill charts that were provided to us. I don't think that they gave us, skills that were completely necessary, nor helped you progress throughout the game. I played my first playthrough on Survivor, so it was super hard. And in the first one, you got a lot of good skills that helped you maybe craft faster or craft with less material, which you did get some of these, but they were very directed in a sense where it wasn't inclusive of all items. It was, you got to craft this thing and you got more of these bombs, or you got more pipe bombs, or you got to craft a stronger melee weapon, things like that. It wasn't like a inclusive where you were just able to craft more in general with the materials you grabbed, which I thought The Last of Us 1 did very well of. And I don't think a lot of the skills helped out very much. They were very similar in the sense of you were able to, like, hear through the wall well, and then the two more down were like you were able to hear through the wall so much better. And it's like, well, I can already hear through the wall good, and what's me hearing through the wall better gonna do? Give me a better skill that maybe can progress me and help me get better stealth kills, or not die, or maybe escape and become unfound, where you escape and they undetect you and then you can hide again faster, or something like that. I think that they didn't provide us with great talents to unlock, which made the skill unlocking just not much worth it to me, in my opinion. I think that the stealth kills were great. There were some awesome kills that you would see, like, from the deaths, I guess I should say, from the enemies killing Ellie or killing Abby. There were some brutal deaths that I thought were amazingly done in this game, well above The Last of Us 1. They definitely took that and ran with it, but I would love to see just more from the stealth attacks and the stealth gameplay on the player side as opposed to the regular side. Another thing that I really disliked was the fact that I was always getting caught in the middle of a stealth kill. There was no real way to maybe, I guess, position them in a better way without doing it beforehand and giving them the opportunity to maybe call out for help. I also would stealth kill somebody and then literally be putting them on the ground and get caught, or walk up behind an enemy, and while you're about to stealth kill them, they would turn around instantly. There's a little bit of mechanics that I was just like, all right, guys, you could have fine-tuned that a little bit more, or maybe gave us a little bit stronger ability of stealth here. But I think that overall the gameplay was very strong. They did a great job, followed the first game very well. The attachments on the guns were amazing. I think that the gun upgrades were very well done. The weapon selection was pretty decent in my opinion. You got a lot more variety of weapons, which I thought was nice. You had a shotgun, a rifle, a bow. The crossbow with Abby was awesome. I thought the crossbow was a phenomenal addition. It made it a lot easier to use than the regular bow and arrow that Ellie would have, which was really cool to see. But yeah, I think the weapons were really good. Another thing that I think they could have done a little better on was the in-between times. There was a lot of gameplay that felt like fluff, just fluff play. Like the scene with Tommy where you're sniping the infected off the mountain and you're just kind of literally picking them off, and then Joel shows up and you stroll away, but it's literally like a 5 to 15, 20-minute segment of you having to figure out how to utilize a sniper. And yes, essentially they use it as sniper training, but I don't know. I think that they could have done a better job. It's just a lot more so of like walking around, and you have to wait for the cues in order to do other things, and just slows the game down in my opinion, extends it a little longer for the speedrunners and people that are trying to maybe get through it a little quicker to do reviews and do different things of that nature. So I think a little bit of fluff gameplay could have been deleted and cut down the time a little bit. It wasn't a very long game by any means, but again, there was a little bit of fluff that I would have deleted or took out myself. So but lastly, some things I want to talk about were just my expectations for the future games. Like, if they do a Last of Us 3, what are they going to do with The Last of Us 3? Who are going to be our main focal points? And are we going to get any new additions? Are there going to be anything interesting in the story or things like that? So to jump into that, I think that the next storyline is going to be very similar to this storyline in the sense that it's going to follow both Ellie and Abby. But this time, I think that they're going to be on the same side. I don't know who their major enemy is going to be. Is it going to be the Scars? Is it going to be the WLA with Isaac still surviving and eliminating the Scars? And now they want to hunt down Abby, right? They want to hunt down Abby and kill her for, disobeying the direct orders that were given to her. Pretty much becoming a traitor to the cause and helping out Scars that they've been fighting their entire lives, even though that she just seen them as regular people. And that was the biggest thing, is to notice, like, in times of the apocalyptic, like, we're all still people, right? It's us versus the infected. We can't start fighting against each other, guys. Like, that's the major point that I really took from the end of that story. So some other things that I think are going to happen in the next one is that they're going to probably be on that island they just left. They're on the West Coast, so maybe they'll explore a new area of America. Maybe they'll go to a new country. Maybe they try to run away from the WLA and they get hunted down. Who knows? But The Last of Us 3, do I think they need one? No, I really don't. I would honestly probably enjoy more of a prequel game, a Firefly expansion, or something along those lines. Maybe playing as Abby and their crew as a young Abby, and kind of learning their stories and things like that. But for The Last of Us 3, I don't think that they really need to do one. In my personal opinion, that was a good sum up to the game, having it end with Ellie losing everything that she cared about, the baby that she had with Jesse, or Jesse's girlfriend, and she just was by herself again, off in the woods and off to start her own adventure. So I think that they probably ended it on a really good note if they wanted to leave it off where it is and in my opinion, they probably should. I would have loved to see a little bit different storyline. They probably could have fed it a little bit better to continue the gameplay and the games. But yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, I think this is where it ends. This is where we leave it. And we just say it is what it is and leave a great game series to be a great game series. So thank you guys for joining out. I want to say, if you're not already a member of the channel, please drop down and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot more reviews, and I think I'm going to start doing a little bit something different with this channel, where it's going to be a lot of uploads of reviews of games, comics, just a lot of different things to let you guys know what my opinions are and let you know if it's something I think that's worthy of your time and money. So thank you guys again so much. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you smash that like button for me, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much, and ciao!